Can we show the agenda again for a second? So I guess we'll wait for our next presenter to come online. Ashley, did you catch that Greg had to drop off the meeting?
I did, thank you. The applicant is just going to be another minute.
Sure.
Hello, Craig. Good afternoon.
Hello, how are you? Are you waiting for any other members of your team?
Yeah, Urfi Tayman just joined.
Hello, guys. Good afternoon.
Hello. Post our question order. Waiting. Is that just the two of you, or are we ready to go then?
Yeah, just as you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So welcome. It takes me a minute to get my screens organized here. Welcome to the Edmonton Design Committee for the formal DP presentation of the Kingsway Mixed-Use Building Project. We would like to remind you that this is a public meeting. We have all received and reviewed your submission package. Your team will have 10 minutes to present, and then we will go virtual roundtable of the committee members for questions. After the presentation, the committee will deliberate and respond to you in writing within 48 hours. I will now turn it over to you to introduce your team and your project.
Thank you. So good afternoon again. I'm Marcelo Figueira, Associate Principal with Green Space Alliance. And with me tonight is Urfi Tayman, Principal of the Tayman Architecture. Okay, so I have a few, well, we're going to go through the package, but I have a few screens that I want to share at the beginning just to provide the context of some of the decisions that we made for this project. So just give me a second. Okay. Yeah. So this is the city's lean map. I'm familiar with, like, this is our site on the 108A and First Street. What I want to show you is this site actually, when I was with EDC, it came for rezoning, and then I think was also for DP, but never went ahead. And the problem is that there's several shortcomings with this corner. One of the major ones is actually because of not enough capacity for sanitary and water. With this is kind of a reflect in the city district plan. It was also so not on this map, it's on the other map. There's also potential risk for flooding, which is also identified in the city map. So that kind of start guiding us to what actually was like here we are. So this is like our site is over here. You see like all this dot head area is for civil infrastructure issues, and the north of the site is all the flooding. So this is kind of a start guiding us on some of the things that we had to do and in terms of the decisions for the design, and actually later on because there is this opportunity for the infill infrastructure funding now, some of this can be addressed, but we still have to go through all the details of how to make this actually the fund works for fixing those issues. What I also want to show you for context is that the site is within this little triangle in the Central District Plan, and this is all employment between 97 and 1st Street, but it's still about 600 meters from the Kingsway LRT station. So we also took up from a perspective that this is considered to be a TOD, but having this access for where employment is actually where the city designated or as a preferred area, guide us, for instance, where we would put our main interest for residential. So we like our preference for residential interest, for instance, is facing 108A rather than 101 Street, right? So that's one of the first main things that guide us. The other one, I want to go back to here on here. So, and just zooming in. So as you can see on the city plan, we are using the MU zone. It has like very small setbacks and almost no setbacks on the sides if there's continuity for non-residential. But the road right away is pretty wide, right? So when you look at actually the images for the site, and this is like a very ugly parking lot. Now you're gonna see like the sidewalk is not in very good shape, but there is a space here in between the sidewalk and the property line, which is pretty much like around over here, if you can see my mouse, where we have to make a decision whether we would make this extend the pavement of the sidewalk to the building, or if we would just redo the city lawn here. And the preference, given the safety concerns, like this area is still not a very like safety area with all. We didn't want to have like any concerns with people coming and lingering on in front of the building of ours, which is something that is unfortunate, but it is happening in downtown right now. So that was one of the other design decisions that we made. But having said that, we are actually applying 153 square meters of sod landscape area on city property, which is, I think it's a nice gesture, but that would not have any trees or shrubs. But again, we're doing something that it's pretty much on the city to maintain and have it done, but it is what it is. That's the state of the situation now. Moving to the package, and I quickly, so we'll talk about this context. Unless there are any questions, I would just go through straight to the plans. And I'll let Urfrey explain a bit more about the actual design of the building starting on this page. So Urfrey, wanna take it from here?
Okay, so yeah, so the main floor facing 101 Street is basically a commercial frontage, and the one in the south is also a commercial with there's a residential access on the main floor. Uh, Parking access is through the lane, and we have a lot of the space in the south side where for commercial it can be utilized as an outdoor seating for a restaurant. That way you have people ice in the street along that along that south side of the building. Along 101 Avenue, that's where the concentration of the offices, professional offices, and it's kind of a busy road in there. So yeah, that's what we do. But again, to maintain, to soften the area, we maintain, but providing a small area for landscaping, just to differentiate the public area and the building. So that's the landscape acts as a separation from the public to the private area. A bike parking will be located on the south, as well as uh, the yeah as I mentioned, the outdoor patio seating. Bike storage will be located on the main floor. There is no parkade in this. There's no there's no basement in this building. Up on the typical floors are the residential units, and we design it in such a way that there's a direct for those balconies, you can like the users or the tenants can see, and there's always the feeling of security for the people in the street that so if you're on the second floor balcony, you can see what's going on the ground floor. So any that makes the area better. Like there's always eyes on the feet for those corners. And yeah, so the residential units is a mix. So it's combination of 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom suites, which is good for the yeah. The users most likely are professionals, people who works in the hospital, or students going to NAET or yeah, any uh, university, yeah, any schools in downtown. With regards to design, the elevations, actually before that, the roof of this building, uh, we are proposing to put in solar panels to be and yeah, that will be using energy efficient fixtures, and yeah, so that helps putting in power towards the grid for this, and that's the reason why we designed the roof to be simple and flat. What we did with the elevation is we articulate the balcony so that when you see it from the distance, you'll never see that it's the building is simple, but you have those kind of articulation for a bit of a facade. The main floor is basically glazing. There'll be more than 50% of glazing. That way, it's somewhat transparent, and to have a connection from the commercial and the public. Well, Uh, with regards to materials, we are using a less maintenance materials, close of composite metal panels and uh, stained glazing, stained glass balconies that will provide privacy to the tenants, the residential tenants as well. I we provided bollards on the main floor just to give security for the users on the commercial. Just as yeah, provide protection for uh, potential vehicles that may crash and towards the building. And this building is not combustible. It's basically made of concrete and the steel materials, which make it which make the building lasting for years to come. That's all I want to say, myself.
Yeah, well, just to complement what you're saying, I think the one of the things that we managed to do, I think, in a very well concept is that in this zone, usually when you see age 16 meters, most designers only accommodate 4 stories, and we were able to address and comply with all the zoning requirements in terms of having the ground level a little bit higher than the other levels and still have this 5-story building like a true mixed-use building. Actually, I would say that completely does exactly what the zone is saying. And one of the last things that we had a conversation with the development planner on this file was actually to make the ground level appear into segments that are smaller than 11 meters, so narrower than 11 meters. So you're gonna see like in some of the drawings, this annotation in red. It's just because there was one of the last thing that we want to discuss with the development planner before we presented to EDC. So I think that also maybe would like to have your opinion on this, because they if we were not doing this correctly, it will probably trigger like a need for variance, and we really don't want to have any variances here. We want to do exactly what this owner is saying. Yeah, so
sorry, just to jump in and interrupt. We're at time, so if there's any key details you didn't get to, can you wrap them up in the next 30 seconds or a minute?
No, yo, that's it. That we're done. Yeah, we're done.
Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just stopping sharing the screen. You can, yeah, go
Sure.
ahead.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
I was timing it too, so.
Thank you for your presentation. With that, we'll move to the deliberation. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Question and answer period. Neil, can you kick us off?
Thank you, Craig. Thank you all. Happy to see this site develop. That's what it seems a common theme with us. Happy to see the site develop. I know the site well as a kid at Victoria School. So I guess my big question is, how serious are you about the ground floor commercial? Like, is this is gonna happen, or like we think it's gonna happen, but we want to have some flexibility?
This will happen. I think one of the drivers is actually the medical clinic. I think Urfi can talk about it. Like the medical clinic is like usually the like the anchor that you say, like for this misuse. Yeah. Urfi, you want to say anything? Like you're more familiar with the clients there.
If you check the north side of the main building is intended for a professional medical clinic. It's a special clinic that is, and the rest will follow. I think there will be a pharmacy next to it, and as you go from west to the south, it will be somewhat related to a residential uses at the So restaurants will be coming in as soon as the dental, that not dental doctor's office will be in place. Actually, we are applying for both the which is medical clinic together with this application.
Okay, yeah, because I'm not. I always want commercial to be really strongly commercial, right? In the interest of its viability, right? That it really reads as commercial, and I think some of the stuff along the, not the corner, but the other edge, feels kind of like buried underneath that band on the top. So that's why I was kind of like, oh, I can see it, because I see a lot of projects that are wanting to be commercial, but wanting to be a little flexible, so they don't want to really pull the commercial out. But I think your base is strongly pulled out. I just hope that the signage and everything at the top reads very retail. I'm not convinced about the landscaping on the corner, the angle bit. I don't know if that's going to achieve what you wanted to achieve. I'm not going to, just not going to sway my opinion either way. I'm just say I'm a skeptic. I'll say I'm always joking with people that there are a number of people and name people, and I'm a name people, and I can't remember the number, so I always have to double check the map. So the 108A Ave frontage, that facade or whatever, that elevation, love it. I love that one. I love how it reads. I love the rhythm of the balconies and the supports. Love it. The problem is that corner where it turns when it hits Kingsway, and I don't know what to think about it. Because I'm like, I really like that one elevation, and the other one I like, okay, but it's the corner that just takes what is very strong and kind of softens as you turn it, and I don't know how to solve it. I think that the 101 side gets a little busy with your proposed banding, sort of tiger tail approach. I personally, I like the more disciplined part on the other one. But so kind of riffing off what I was thinking earlier on another project, is there an opportunity at the corner to bring up what looks like the commercial facade a little, just so it kind of reads up like that, not changing the height, not changing the floors, just pulling that up a little. And in my ideal world, you wouldn't have those big units at the side. You'd have two volumes. You'd have the commercial and the corner, and an above grade, like little outdoor space that's separated from the ground floor, but that would, I recognize, lose suite. So that's kind of where I'm struggling with it a little. I really like that 108A frontage, and I just want the commercial to be good.
Yeah, so that's funny, because the corner is not the corner that we like either, like our first option. Okay, but we had to do that because of the regulations of having those frontage to look like narrow 11-meter things, and we had like the original one had a stronger corner. That was like put an anchor in that corner, and then in between what's happening in 101 is different than 108. So I'm interested in your ideas, because we did this because we were dealing with this variance request. That's why I had to mention that at the end. But I really appreciate any comments coming from the community tonight on this.
Maybe we'll make that comment, and hopefully that helps you out.
Yeah.
We are running these problems. These are problems, tensions between intent and rule, and because the rules are designed to be as understood and objective as possible, can sometimes rub up against the intent.
Yeah, and we had the conversation with Kenneth. Like, it's almost like, okay, the regulations are meant for buildings that have like a 90-degree angle in a corner. But what happens when I
you don't have that?
Yeah. Right. So I don't know. No, I completely understand. Like, I'm really looking forward for your comments tonight.
You know who can solve it? Shay. I'm gonna pass it on to Shay.
Thanks, Neil. To you, Shay.
Oh man, big shoes to fill. too many positive adjectives. So yeah, thanks Marcelo and Murphy. Great to see you guys again in another project here. And again, a space that needs some love. I do have two comments. One is well, I'll say 2.5 comments. Two are simple. One is more maybe holistic. So one, I find the implementation of the bollards around the site a really defensible form of architecture for the site. It feels like a very cold idea to add. It really separates you from the building in a way that I don't think is beneficial to the kind of the adding warmth or vibrancy to the pedestrian realm. I would say, like, if you can chop all of them out, I would. I know they provide security benefits. If someone was to run a car through the CRU units, again, assuming that will not happen. The impact on the design of the building at the ground level is really distracting. I think the benefit for it being removed. And then with the urban condition in mind, I think as the project rounds the corner on the north side, the like blank CMU concrete masonry unit wall feels very cold. Like as it wraps around on the lane side, it's warmer but still flat. This one is you're running around the corner, and as you look back or as you approach the building from the north, it's just this like straight blank cold wall. And I don't know what your intent is for that space, but if there's any way to liven up, the easy option is a mural or some sort of like decorative element to the architecture. There are more other options that provide some sort of fenestrations to it, but I feel like that is a pretty cold corner. As I walk past it, especially because it is pretty close to the sidewalk. You can like almost touch it as you're walking by. As you walk by, it's just like, I don't know how long it is. It's like 30, 40 feet of just concrete CMU. I think it takes away from the work you're doing on the ground floor for the commercial. And then lastly, it's very similar to, I think, Neil's comment on the elevations. Like I'm looking at your renders on the very last page, and there's one particular one on 108 AV, and it's just, if that was just the elevation, I think it's way more successful. It's the bottom right corner of the second last page or the last page in tabloid. It's got pretty decent rhythm. You've got some additive elements onto the balconies that aren't adding too much busyness. Like you squint at it and it looks pretty good. But then when you take a step back and you take a look at the elevation, I think the implementation of the hardy panels of the khaki and the dark brown is adding complexity and visual busyness to your elevation that I don't think you need if you pulled it back and went with something more simple with some of your white material. I think you can clean up the elevations, make them a little bit crisper, and you wouldn't really have to change any of the formwork at all. I think the horizontal planking on elevation is taking away from the massing of your project, and primarily just on the street facing side. You don't really see too much of it on the edges of the building. And or if we had mentioned this, if you guys are proceeding with like stained glass for the windows, I don't know what that looks like, but that sounds awesome. I don't. It feels like a pretty cool little architectural intervention within the residential spaces if it's done well. I don't know what your strategy is for it, but it is an interesting idea. So I throw that in. Also, the solar panels on the roof are cool, especially at that expense. There's quite a few of them on there, so and you can see them from the streetscape. So if that's the intent, and you can see them from the ground floor, seeing some of that infrastructure is cool on the roof. So yeah, those are my 2.5 main comments. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for that. Like we definitely we can go back and discuss this with the development planner. I mean, they have some expectation for the facades, which I completely understand like where you're coming from make it like a little bit more cleaner.
I'll pictures are worth 1,000 words here. Let's see if I can pull up you guys' presentation really quick.
Hold on, just give me a second.
Sorry, Marcelo, if you have it, it's your very last slide.
Is this one right? Is this one or the
Yeah,
or the
this
next one?
one.
This one,
Yeah.
yeah. I was looking while you were when you're explaining, like, yeah.
So yeah, that bottom right elevation
Mm-hmm.
at that isometric view perspective you kind of have, great. I think that's a really strong elevation. When you look at it from the corner on the top left, or even the one on the top right, I think those take away. I would say they're less successful and less resolved, and I would need some more convincing that palette needs to remain in anyway. But the bottom right, I look at that, I squint. I think that's a pretty nice elevation for that project. So.
Yeah, is that because I think like those two panels are not on the same plane, right?
Actually, that's if you check the floor plan, it's actually flat. So we managed to put a different different kind of material just to give somewhat like a feeling that it is actually not on the same plane. And also by having the same kind of rhythm all the way to the north, it will create like it will just read the just one building this way. You can tell that if you're on the south side facing the building, you can tell that as if it's a separate building than the one in the north. And the corner, I agree. We're going to talk to the development officer. We can integrate another material maybe that will make it really more somewhat playfulness on the building. So yeah, we'll consider that.
So yeah, all we can ask is you consider it. But yeah, taking a look at it, I think it's not doing you guys any favors. It's just it's so busy.
The borders are going to be an interesting conversation, but I'll I'll take that as a advice. But yeah, I understand it's a little bit too much. It's just, you know, the neighborhood it is what it is, right? So
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that's it. That's all I got.
Thanks, Shay.
Oh, sorry.
David. Oh, sorry. Someone wants to say
The blank wall on the north side is actually right against the property. So, but yeah, if they haven't developed that one, we can integrate sort of a mural on that wall just to make it look as if it's not a blank wall.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation. I had all of my questions already ready to ask you there, Marcelo. Now they're just going to be comments, because I'm just going to follow up on some of the things that Neil and Shay have talked about. The first one was the corner, which Neil brought up, and Shay's talked about it a little bit. You know, one of the things that really sort of stood out for me when going through the document, and I've driven by this corner 1 billion times over the last 35 plus years. One of the things that maybe like if you're driving eastbound along Kingsway or northbound along 101 Street, one of the only thing that came to my mind was that it was sort of lacking some landmark qualities. And if there was anything that could be done to sort of revisit that corner, and consider what sort of landmark qualities could be established to really further enhance that corner, because it is as I said, it is a prominent corner, and could have some real land. The architecture on that corner should have some real strong landmark qualities. The other one that I was going to ask about is the landscape, the whole frontage. I don't, I think that what's being proposed really doesn't connect well or create a good public realm or interface with the public realm, and sort of create a bit of a an opportunity to promote sort of that animation, the social interaction, vibrancy, and create more synergy with all of those ground floor commercial businesses. I understand the sort of people that are the homeless and whatnot that are usually in this area, but I don't think sod and landscape is going to deter them any further from loitering around that corner and so on and so forth. And as I said, it would be nice to have a bit more sort of urban design interface between the back of curb and the front of those commercial units, rather than something you'd see in the suburbs. So that was about it. Thanks.
Can I just ask a few things then?
Sure.
So, like, maybe I'll just go to my screen again. Oh, never mind. Like, I was just looking at the Google Aero photo, right? Because I there was a time that I used to rent an apartment close to the hospital, so I know what you're talking about. But the other three corners of the sites are just parking lots, and some landscaping to try to screen the parking lot on the school site. But they're all parking lots. So just granted that some of those things are going to stay, not going to change, then like two of the corners might change, but right now we're the first ones. Just by putting the building heavily on that corner, isn't that a landmark itself? Like creating that kind of a say, hey, I'm different than the other three guys over here. I'm just throwing that out.
As I said, just the way that the architecture is being treated right now on that corner, as I said, it doesn't, in my opinion, sort of emphasize the importance of that corner of the building. And as I said, I don't have an answer for you, but as I said, Kingsway Avenue is one of the most sort of historic roads in Edmonton. It just would be nice to have a bit, have the building act as a bit more of it is, as you said, it is acting as an anchor to that corner finally. But as I said, I think just there could be a bit more refinement of that corner, the architecture on that corner, to really support that sense of anchoring and landmark development. So
yeah,
I agree with everything you're saying. So.
Yeah, well, I also agree with what you're saying. I'm just thinking like on the city property, and I know what you mean. Like you like this configuration about like sidewalk, lawn properties it's like a suburban kind of thing, right? Like, but given that we're going to city property, right? Like they and again, I show you like what is existing there. Like there's nothing. It's not even maintained properly the way that it should be. As a taxpayer, I feel like what my money is doing.
No,
but
yeah, no, I just think there's some better opportunities, and if it has to go through some sort of service agreement with the city, we've done it a gazillion times in some of our projects. There might be some opportunities for spill out in front of that medical area, or if you're having a restaurant, there might be some spill out opportunities for an outdoor patio on that restaurant, and so on and so forth. I just think that would create a much better sort of public streetscape realm than adding some grass and shrubs. So
yeah, but as Urfi was explaining, we know we have more certainty about some of the tenants, but not all of them. So I guess as those things get occupied, we get a better understanding of what kind of a business are. Definitely would be like we had a project last year close to White Avenue. The first thing that we did, like even the city didn't want any sod there. They want just like extend everything to the sidewalk because it's really nice. But that's White Avenue area, right? That's different here. So, I mean, I totally see that it's almost like a missed opportunity not to do it. But we just need to align this with the timing of who's going to be the tenant on the project. Like that's my cautions on not doing it at once.
Yeah, no, that's but it would be nice to start with the starting point of making it a little bit more of an urban interface than soft landscape interface, and then be able to interchange components that get applied to that more urban interface. If it is adding a outdoor patio, or outdoor seating area for the medical area, so on and so forth. As I said, I just think it would be better to reflect more of an urban quality to start with, and then yes, have some interchangeable parts that could go be pulled in or put in or pulled out with respect to which sort of tenants go into those ground floor units. So anyway,
yeah, no, thanks, Dave. Yeah,
okay, thanks.
Thanks, David. Karen, you're up.
All right. Oh, my camera on. Hi, Marcel. Great to see you again. I think conceptually, you guys have like nailed what the community needs there, meeting a lot of those needs. And I do want to commend your applicant or your client on being the first to instigate this change and just being the precedent setter that is going to shape the neighborhood. So kudos to them. I kind of echo pretty much all of the other comments that have been made. In terms of sort of the street interaction. When you said, one thing that does kind of trig me is when you said it's going to be a medical clinic, how that is going to function. So I'm thinking pickup, drop-offs, that kind of thing, high car traffic, elderly, like how that is going to work on that site. In terms of the quick drop-offs idea. And the other thing I have particularly on that corner, it's a lot of flat glazing, and I think we all know that quite often medical clinics are large footprints and they tend to cover the windows. So making sure we've got an interaction in that space. And I realize that's obviously beyond our control, but something to consider. I mean, how often do you see posters put on over clinic walls and that kind of, or windows, and it just, you lose the whole point of those windows. My other question is, are there any 3 bedrooms in this building?
Okay, so the medical clinic that we are like 90% sure where it's gonna go is the northwest corner. Okay. And all the pickup drop off happens in the back.
Okay, so there is room in the back. Yeah, it was a little hard to tell, but okay, if there is room in the back. Yeah. So that I think is going to be really critical from a traffic management standpoint.
Yeah, so there's no way that it could happen on a 101 street. Like
that was my concern. Yeah.
I think there are 6 3 bedrooms here. Like
good. Good. Yeah.
I can confirm because I have the stats here. You give me
because I'm just thinking, if you're catering to residents or whatever at the hospital, quite often they're going to have families and young families. So,
Yeah, sorry, four 3 bedrooms and four 2 bedrooms plus den would be a small.
because I could see, I could see a demand for 3 bedrooms in that area. So I conceptually, I think you've nailed it, and really just working out those fine details. And I mean, from a planning regulations standpoint, I think you've pretty much hit everything. So, kudos on the whole concept and idea, and being the leader in that neighborhood and instigating some change. So, be excited to see it.
Thank you. Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Mindy.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you very much for your presentation. I don't have any questions. It looks like a lovely project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mindy. To you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I think my comments have already been addressed. The only additional comment I'd suggest is like this parcel is still technically within more or less Chinatown proper. And so I feel like it's a real missed opportunity to not really have any component of the building kind of acknowledge that context a bit more, because right now it could just be sort of like anywhere, but it'd be really nice if there was some sort of, because it's sort of at that, well, it's an interesting location. It's at the center of so much. It's anchoring the end of kind of Kingsway, and then which David was talking about is kind of iconic for Edmonton. And then at the north end, it's kind of like it's the north kind of edge of or near the north edge of Chinatown, which is really interesting. And so I think there could be a real interesting opportunity that whether it's simply through materiality or other kind of it could even be like some probably like articulation of the massing, something to just acknowledge that fact, because I feel like it really is a landmark site. And so I think it'd be valuable to look into more ways to find how could this really feel like a landmark building due to its prominence on the corner of the site. So it's more of a comment than a question, but I'm also confused by the bollards as well. I'll just add a +1 for the bollards. I feel like it kind of detracts from the public realm kind of experience there. I don't know if it was like a request from your client or what, but maybe there are other ways, maybe with landscaping or something, I don't know, to give a perceived sense of safety or something, even if it's just like a some type of like passive barrier that doesn't feel so obtrusive like a bollard. But more so comments than questions. So thank you.
I think I'm just gonna try to give you some comfort on the Chinatown. It's not what you're expecting, but Chinatown, like the Chinatown strategy, there are 3 sub areas, right? On the south side, the Chinese Garden is Louis McKinney Park, and then you have like the core, which is more like Chinatown, I would say, theme.
Yeah.
The cultural Chinatown South, and the north is the Chinatown BIA. So it's not a design response, but like because we are going to be mixed use and we are within the Chinatown BIA, we're going to be heavily involved with them. Whether or not we have some kind of a architecture things that bring up that cultural, more like a feeling. So in a way, like social, we will be involved with the Chinatown BIA anyways,
Sure.
Which it's a good thing to have, like not design related, but it is within the aspiration of being faithful to what the area is all about.
I think, even just looking at the elevations, there's an opportunity like on the east side of the building where there could be like some mural that acknowledges Chinatown, some piece of public art, just something to kind of acknowledge that context a bit more is kind of what I'm referring to. But yeah, I think it's just an interesting location. It's at that kind of north end, and then you move around the corner, and then it gets more and more focused on those little kind of motifs that are associated with Chinatown. But yeah, it could be kind of source for inspiration for something that would be quite nice. But yeah, appreciate the response. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jonathan. Raj, to you.
Hi. Yeah, nice little project. I like the way you have incorporated the solar panels, so appreciate that. You mentioned that there was some historic flooding issues in that area. Like, has that been addressed?
No, like we have all this those things mapped out now, and we're just thankful that now it can be addressed to the infrastructure fund. That's what I meant, because otherwise we'd make this project but not feasible again, right? Because that the previous owner tried, and here we are again.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Raj. Kevin.
Yeah, thanks, Marcella. Excuse me for your presentation. I don't have any comments that weren't already raised by my colleagues, so I will leave it at that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Nick.
Hey, Marcella. Good to see you again.
Hi. How are you?
Good. I agree with Karen. I think it's a great, it's quite a challenge in terms of the site. My two comments would be, just on the concrete wall elevation, that interface, hopefully you can get some public art or something so you don't manifest the problem along there, and maybe some lighting. The second one, I do sort of talk to David as a corner site, and I look at that elevation. I think, spoken to by the rest of the team members, is just where that corner cut is. There's nothing really, to me, it's quite flat. It's not making anything predominant. I don't think it'd take much to just switch it up a little bit to just make a little bit of enhancement on that corner. That's probably the main challenge I have, because from an urban design point of view, when you got a corner, you want to try and at least, I totally understand the challenges. There's the budget, there's the cost, and everything in the environment that you're going into. But we only get to build once, really, for a number of years. So we should try and see what we can do to maybe just enhance that corner point a little bit more. That's really my main two comments. So, but apart from that, Marcella, I think it's a good challenge, and we want to see it get built. So I'm not trying to understand all pro formas and stuff, but we can play with some of the materiality maybe a bit to perhaps enhance it a little bit on that corner point. That's really my main comments.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick.
All right. Thanks, Marcel.
Thank you, Nick. That leaves myself. Yeah, nothing that hasn't been said before. I kind of agree with Shay, the kind of turning the corner of the materials on the top. I don't think we need to. Maybe I'm just kind of misunderstanding the city when it asks for non-residential use facades to be broken down into 11 meters. So to me, I read that as kind of a requirement for the podium and not to the residential above. So, and then the other thing David kind of mentioned is that corner kind of, it's almost kind of pulling back that bay four a little bit to give like a little plaza, or like you mentioned, a restaurant spill out, a chance for public art on that corner, kind of patio seating area. In around there might be nice. Overall, though, I think a nice project, fairly well executed. That was all I had.
Well, thank you very much again. I'm looking forward for your comments and ideas for that, especially for the that I think we mostly discussed this corner. So yeah, thank you so much.
So thank you for your presentation. Thank you for bringing this to us. We will now transition into deliberations. Feel free to stay on the meeting, but we ask that you do not participate in the deliberations.
Yeah, we just gonna be quiet listening, but thank you.
To the committee, let's start with some initial impressions. What stands out about this proposal, either positive or as a concern? Anybody?
I think the big one for me is the landmark point, which I think is something that resonates with most of us. I think the sight lines of the building, particularly from 101st Street and Kingsway, are really important because it's anchoring that corner. But then also kind of zooming on, and I don't know if anyone else kind of agrees, but like I really was hoping to see a little bit of consideration for that kind of Chinatown context. I feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity, but maybe it's, if no one else has that broader opinion, that's fine. But it's kind of it's kind of like the north edge of Chinatown. I feel like that could have been an interesting opportunity, even if it's just like public art. It doesn't have to be completely redesigned or anything. But
I mean,
yeah.
I hadn't considered, like, to me, maybe I don't kind of perceive it as the northern edge. Like when you say it, yes, right? You're like, absolutely. But in my mind, I kind of didn't initially think about it. I think it's something that can be added. Like we talked about the mural along that CMU wall. I think that's a great opportunity to engage, local artistic community. Yeah, good point.
I do agree with you, Jonathan, and I think David brought up as well. It's a real challenge in terms of what they're trying to do, which is get development into this area, which is a great thing. And then you're balancing it with trying to also create good design. And when you're on a corner like that, and it's, I think, a predominant corner, I've driven down there myself a lot of times. So, it's this fine balance of how do you get a good building in, but that will actually be implemented, if that makes sense. I think that's some of the challenges, but I do believe the architectural elements along the cross portion of the facade could be changed to make a little bit more interest. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a fine balance if we do these, particularly in this area.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with more about just the landmark element of this, and it's maybe why we're maybe a bit more stringent with our comments. Just like there's a huge gap in development in this area, and this project will go up first and kind of sets the precedent for stuff that's happening around it, and we really wanted to really pop and anchor the surrounding, I don't know, several properties in both the north and the east direction. Just like a lot of flat going on there right now, and yeah, we get some depth on that corner and some folks feeling comfortable as they walk past the building. That's a big one.
If I recall, in our design standards on corners are key points to sort of elevate, and so it's just how to change that materiality to keep the eye focused on giving some architectural difference, particularly on the corner cut. It seems rather flat at the moment from my perspective.
The other thing I forgot to mention was the entries to those commercial units on 101 Street being in an alcove 1, but with the door not being visible 2 seemed a bit problematic to me. Those doors would just maybe not read. I don't know. I mean, alcoves aren't the best as far as septed, and maybe it's just the current state of the area that's kind of biasing me there, but I think having the doors visible from the street might be helpful rather than on the 90. Any other major, are there any major concerns?
Well, that's a major concern. I was just maybe someone else can help me read this. The inclusive bike parking, does that look like it's in the building and has its own door?
Ooh, looks like that to me.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a maybe a little dicey hidden space. If those are inclusive bike parking stalls that are open to the public to use, you can open
good
that
point.
and hide in there.
And I just added a point there about traffic management and the pickups and drop-offs tendency.
I'm actually surprised we didn't pick up on that more, and I'm just thinking about other proposals where the parking behind some projects get really tight. Like the throat on this one felt a little tight to me too, and to me, it's kind of like, do you need that last stall? Could you keep a little bit more width? I was just trying to look at the maneuverability with it. Doesn't seem terrible, but
just with the high potential for high volume and not knowing how large of a clinic it's, or how the specialty or the volume of size.
Yeah, and if just maybe there's a dimension on there that kind of tell me how many meters I'm looking at. Then
I mean, it's a pretty small site. They've done an impressive job of getting a lot of stuff on a really quite small site. Did Marcelo mention that they're going to do this all in concrete and steel? Like,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And not. I was kind of like, clear my ears.
The other thing is, do we need that wall to kind of go all the way back for those? I get that there's secured parking. There's 4 secured parking stalls, and then the wall kind of goes out for the other 4 stalls as well. Which, again, just thinking back to other projects with similar conditions, I think we've argued for visibility through that space. But I'm not sure if that's a fence. Yeah, it looks like there's a fence. Maybe it is sealed off completely to the waste and recycle. Does anyone feel? Sorry, I lost my screen.
I am. We're if we pull our notes up onto the screen, we are getting into a lot of bullets on this on this presentation project. However, I feel that the proponent will take these comments away and look at these things a little bit more. So I will make a motion of support.
I'll second.
Thank you.
sweetheart.
Are we happy with the bullets as written? Looking good to me.
This project never came as an informal, right? I don't recognize it.
I don't recognize it.
Yeah, I think we should put our standard clause in there regarding that. That the committee feels that this project would have benefited from coming for an informal. I think a lot of these comments would have been flagged at that time.
And arguably easily addressed. I don't, like I said, for the number of comments here, I don't think they're major or deal breakers, so to speak. Are we happy with how it is? Are we ready to move towards voting? So, thank you, David. So for the motion of support as shown on the screen in the same question order, start with Neil.
Support or yes?
Shay.
Support.
David.
Support.
Karen.
Support.
Mindy.
Support.
Jonathan.
Support.
Raj.
Support.
Kevin.
Support.
Nick.
Support.
And Craig support. The motion is carried. Thank you to the presenters who I believe are still on. Next item of business is item D, other business, item D.1, work planning update.
Peter's away, so we I don't think we'll be discussing that today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Item E, upcoming applications, administration.
We actually have nothing booked for October 7th yet. So they have until Friday to submit a package.
Okay. Thank you. Karen?
I will be away. I will not be at the next meeting.
Okay. Thanks, Karen.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other, I guess, regrets?
Nick has his hand up.
Yeah, I'm going to be away probably for about a month or so. So, sure.
Where are you taking us, Nick?
I'm going all over the place at the moment, but I will be back for actually, I won't be back till probably for the next November one on the 4th. So just a heads up there.
Okay. Thanks, Nick.
Okay. Thank you.
Quite the adventure, Nick.
Yeah, I'm going across Canada. Friends having some major heart surgery, then and then go on vacation in Hawaii, and then just a whole lot of other stuff. Tough flying.
Lots of airtime, hey?
Okay. Nothing else. We'll move to the next item, F, adjournment. We will adjourn the meeting at 6:32 p.m. The next meeting scheduled for October 7th. Thank you all.
If we get project.
Thank you.